Right, one right side. It's got right, 30 people.
Yeah.
But there's 1, 2.
No, Lee.
4.
You got to understand, people people are in background recording it for police for me. That's why.
I can't see no more than 5 different names.
They're recording it for people. Go and they record everything for the police for me. Dum dum. I'm just waiting for people to come on.
5 thumbs up, 15 thumbs down.
Surprise, surprise.
16 thumbs down now.
Naughty. Been painting myself for
dear.
the makeup, painting my hands, painting my arms everywhere. Bum bum bum. I have my real hair back on my head. Ta-da! The red has gone, I'm back to blonde. Although I bleached the fuck out of my hair, I'm not gonna lie. Hi, Elizabeth.
Can't even find you, Claire.
Because I don't know there.
Didn't even.
No one even knows I'm live yet, anyway.
I can't even find it. Not even had a notification.
Half the time they don't work, notifications. You've just got to kind of just wait and hang in there because they don't work, because they're shite. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Watching.
I am like probably still got all crap mascara under here because I've been crying, but other than that, I think I'll be okay. Yeah, unfortunately, notifications don't work right well, Elizabeth, at the moment. They're like on and off all the time, I think, for everyone, to be fair. So, if you could share it out, I would appreciate it, please. Anyone share it out so people know. So we're going to get into the vampiric theory, the vampires and the witches. Obviously, because they were associated with vampires quite a lot back in the day. They still are today, actually, in some form. They are still classed as being involved with witches or vampires. However, back in the day, of course, there weren't really any vampires. It was more to do with the decomposition of bodies within their grave. They didn't understand it properly medically. So it was one of those things where they assumed that if a body hadn't decomposed, so there was no blood, remember they didn't do embalming and things, and if there was fresh blood there, or even if the parts of the body had moved or whatever, they were initially assumed. Hello, Cass. It's lovely to see you. I was just saying that the notifications on YouTube are not working, so when I go live, nobody actually knows. So yeah, it was more about the fact that they didn't understand. Bless you. You don't have to, Cass. It's nice that you just stopped in to say hello. Thanks, Elizabeth, because it's just being shite at the moment. So yeah, a lot of it regarding vampires and things. Hi, Shaz. It's lovely to see you. It was more to do with the decomposition. Hello, Emily. And the fact that obviously when they were in the graves and stuff, it was different back then because they didn't embalm them. They didn't do any of that kind of stuff. So if someone had just suspected a vampire, for example, oh, that's great, Soph. Nice to see you. Bless you, Shaz. Mind you, though, do you know, I've been quite tired recently. Could be an energy thing that's circulating at the moment because the Earth's energy is a bit off. It's a bit weird. Anyway, so when they would go into the grave and there were fresh blood within these tombs, they would assume that it was vampiric, you know. And then the story would start to roll about how people were rising from the dead and walking around the streets at night and sucking people's blood. And then this is where it sort of came into play where, well, it's witches that are doing it, you know, they're casting spells to call back to the vampires, I guess, you know, like they're totally doing something ritual wise to bring back these vampires. Now, there's various kinds of vampires, but vampires are very real, might I add, okay? It's the word and the fact that the Hollywood type, they've been blown out of proportion. That's what it is. Actual vampires themselves are actually real, and they are people just like me and you, and they absolutely enjoy drinking blood. Usually it's pig's blood. It doesn't, you know, it's not always the worst of the worst. No problem, Elizabeth. It's generally pig's blood. Yeah, Sophie, yeah. Well, it's generally pig's blood that they drink. If they do drink sort of human blood, it would be particular. So they would be in a relationship that was long term, so to speak. They don't turn into bats, you know, like they could have the fangs done, but you have that done by a dentist, but it is more a way of life. Now, I suppose if we go back, you might have considered witches to have dealings with vampires as such, but that's not true. Witches themselves, if such exist, if such beings, supernatural beings existed, we wouldn't get involved with them. You know, I think I went through that phase, Cass. You know, like as you do growing up, you go through phases like that, don't you, where you want weird things like that. I think I went through that. But it's not, we wouldn't necessarily know. We wouldn't necessarily hang with vampires or, you know, have really anything to do with vampires. Oh, I tell her I'm sending love to her too, Sophie. But saying that, if you go back to sort of the early times and their stories, you'd find that witches had vampires within their coven circles. If you look at all the underground stories that they come out with, you can buy elf ears, Emily. You can buy them. I mean, obviously you can have them modified, but that's a bit extreme. Just buy the stick-on ones and get rid of them then. Lee, fucking hell.
I am done.
Mm. And yeah, so it's like it's one of those things, isn't it? Where it's all quite mystical, and is it really, you know, is that really happening? Like, are they really having these underground meetings with witches in covens and things? Well, you'd get one half that would say, yes, that's what's happening. And this is absolutely true. And you would get the other half that would decline and say, no, that's not what's happening. I think it depends on the kind of witch you are, the kind of coven that you are in, and how your belief system works. Because there are also the psychic vampires, which are actually just people in general. And these people in general, in our everyday lives, they are absolutely draining to not to such people as myself. They take, and take, and they never give nothing back. And they drain every bit out of you and leave you sort of dazed and, well, drained is a word, I suppose. They take so much energy out of you that you absolutely, your whole aura, your whole soul, it feels diminished. You almost feel like you can't go on. Hi, James. We're just talking about the traditional vampire witch dealings, and I'm explaining obviously that most of the time it was literally, James, that corpses, the way that they decomposed, led people to believe that they were vampires when they were not. That was the main issue back then. However, there's also, James, the fact is they're not, that some witches today still claim they have dealings with real vampires. And you'll find this more in the USA, but not in the UK. In the UK, any vampires that I know are people like you and me, and they generally drink animal blood. These psychic vampires are normal people, but they just drain you. They take and take and take, and they give nothing back. I've just recently got rid of one not that long ago. As we all know, she was a vampire. She took and took and took and never gave back. Definitely a vampire that drained the fuck out of me.
She definitely were a no-no, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, but she's cursed. I don't give a fuck. Every lie that she's telling right now is going to come straight back on her, and trust me, she's going to end up a rape mess in the morning when she wakes up. And she realises that her face has started melting away from her body. But anyway, the point is that, is it true? Are there underground vampires living with witches? Are they doing satanic rituals? Is it possible that somewhere out there, witches are involved with...
Shut up, idiots!
Yes, it's very possible. The reason being is, regardless of what you think is a vampire, they are out there. They are out there, and there's good and there's bad, just like there is in people. There's good and there's bad. So yeah, it happens. Hi, Elizabeth. Welcome back. Welcome back. James is always doing something. It's not just when you come in Camp Survivor, trust me. Ask anybody. James is always doing something. It's true. Do satanic and black magic. Right. This is another theory, and I think James would agree on me. No, Sophie. For example, the satanic symbol is not the pentagram. Let's get that straight. It is not the pentagram the right way up. It is not the pentagram the wrong way. The pentagram the right way up, we are looking at feminine. We are looking at connecting to the elements and to the earth. The pentagram upside down is connecting you to the masculine, to the horned god, to the green man, to Kerenunus, whatever you want to call him, Satyr. It depends on the name. Now, the satanic symbol itself is quite different because it's 3 lines, goes like a big line, a middle line, a small line, and then the infinity sign is in it. So the real satanic symbol is completely different to what people think. That's it. We're just total. That's right, James. We are, and it's more about, Sophie, your intent. Everything's about your intent. Everything is about your intent. Now, I will say this, Sophie. You can go do Wicca, and generally none of them do harm. They don't harm anyone. They don't do dark magic. They don't practice that deeper side of things, because Wicca's very spiritual. It is not a witch. When you are a witch, you do what needs to be done. That being said, we know how it works. You don't sound silly at all, Sophie, don't be daft. We know how it works. So we know that we can put things out there to do what's needed. For example, let's say someone puts a curse on someone so that something happens every time they lie. Now that is allowed. Why is it allowed? Because in order for that curse to be active, they have to be lying. So they are creating that themselves. The energy was just put out into the universe. The energy and the intent and what is needed was given to the universe, and the universe made the right choice. That's what happens. So even when we're doing spells, regardless of their nature, we don't have to be good or bad. Sometimes it's just doing what needs to be done, you know? It's like I was always saying, there was the Wiccan read, and I never had a read, we never had rules because we knew how it worked. We knew that if we were going to put something out there, the universe would decide if it was right, or not, you know? And that decision would be out there, and it's always made fair and it's always made right, which is excellent. Yes, and it's brilliant that you ask questions, Sophie. I want you to ask questions. But there is the darker side to things. There is always that deep, dark, sadistic side to everything in life. We all have the dark and the light within us. However, there are those that stick to the dark side of things and just practice dark. It does not necessarily mean that they're bad people, but it means they're willing to dish out what needs to be done, and they will have consequences, but they won't mind that. They're willing to do that, you know? And I think people often mistake them for just really bad people when they're not. They're actually quite good people. But yep, exactly. They were all deemed evil, weren't they? Like at one point, you couldn't even really have a broom. Like I have my nan's broom up there, if you can see it. It's bound and it's on the wall. It's very old, a few hundred years old, my dad. But you couldn't even have one of those without being accused of witch, being a witch. So it's one of them things, you know. Every single thing was classed as being bad and evil and wrong, but that's not true. Um, However, like I say, I have plenty of books. Don't buy any, Sophie. Don't buy none. Don't buy none. I have so many. It's unreal. Like I have so many. It's unreal. Don't buy any. Just tell me what you want, where you want to start, where you want to read first, or whatever.
Yeah, free some space up for us. And I can get
Yeah.
fish down.
And then at least they want some space freeing up anyway, so. But at least you're alive, Emily. That's the main thing. I might be dead on Monday, so yeah. Anyway, wherever you need to learn and start from, Sophie, just let me know, and we'll take it from there. Because there's many kinds of witchcraft as well. But regarding vampires, me as a witch, I have friends that are vampires, and don't be daft, Sophie. I've got them anyway, and I've read them. I'm not going to read them twice, am I? I just don't. You can ask Lee, you can ask my boys, and they'll tell you the same. I don't read them twice. I only read them once, and then they're no good to me. And it's like, and if they're no good to me and I don't want them, then somebody may as well get some use out of them. You know what I mean? So I do have friends that are vampires, but like I said, they are normal people. Yes, that's right. I have a few stories coming up on my channel, James, that are about the witches of Essex, Sophie, because one of the last well-known cases of the ridicule of witchcraft happened in Essex. Just so you know. Yeah, no, you're not. No, not at all. Honestly, Sophie, you're not. You're really not. Because I've read them, and I'm going to be very, very honest with you.
I think it's about 3.5 hours.
Actually, the vampires, yeah, the vampires that I know, Emily, are actually all right. They are just like any other normal person, only they have a different lifestyle, that's all. And I have no issues with them, and they have no issues with me, and we get on quite well. Of course, not a problem. There was many witches in Essex, believe it or not. And there's actually a few very good covens, Sophie, still running in Essex. There was a recent fight for the witches in Essex as well to try and get the last one diminished so that she could be placed in a burial place. Yes, can I have a hot drink then, please?
Yeah,
Cappuccino. Thank you. So it was one of those things, but most of my vampiric friends, they are not like what you think. They don't go in the sun or anything like that. They live a fairly normal life, but they just have different rituals. They have different ways of practicing things, and they drink pig's blood. That's it. You need to move to Essex. Do you, Shrim? Why do you want to move to Essex? But look, I'm back blonde now. Took off the red. I'm back to blonde. And so yeah, I don't really have any issue with any of my vampire friends. It's the psychic vampires that I need to stay away from because they do drain you. And those are just like normal people. And sometimes it can be very hard. Long pig's blood. Isn't it, Sophie? It is very hit and miss. Vampires, yeah, they tend to drink pig's blood. If not, it'll be a partner that they've been with for quite some time. And they'll be used to exchanging blood between each other. Dear, dear. It's nice to see you, Shandy. Thank you for coming in. So that's correct. That's correct. That's now that is what I'm actually going to get into, James. At the later date on my channel, it'll be exactly about that. I have some very interesting notes that I found regarding this particular coven and everything about it. So it's it was extremely interesting to say the least. Now the witches back then, they would send out what is known and what we all know it as energy. And this energy again was called the energetic vampire. Oh, that's just typical, isn't it? Camp survivors. They just think, oh yeah, you're obsessed with him, then you're a murderer, you said. Honestly. Yeah, no, it's true, Shandy. I've read about him too, and the witches of Essex are quite famous. They're just as famous as, any of the others, to be fair. He was, but let's be honest, James. That's the thing, isn't it? He was charismatic. I can't speak, James. He had charisma, and he was cunning. Excellent, shrimp. Excellent. I have quite a few ones for different things because they all have a different energy to me, so they all do different things. But yeah, I mean, the Essex witches are as famous as the Pendle witches, so it's just that they are not talked about enough. They're not given the reputation enough. People just don't want to discuss that. So, regarding these energy vampires, that's exactly what they were, and witches would get together and they would create this energy, and it would be an energy form, and I guess you would call it a shadow mist, a shadow, being, a changed form. You can definitely call these up. It works, might I add. It works, it's real. And you don't get me wrong, it can take a few days. It's not something that can be done within a couple of hours. It's something that you have to really set your mind to, and you really have to get into the energy and work on it. Things have to be not a shapeshifter, Shandy. No, this is made from pure energy. So, like this aura that we have, it's created from energy taken from around us, and you put a lot into it and it creates a dark energy. This is an energetic vampire. And the witches would send these to people that had done them wrong, to people that they wanted to scare. Now, don't get me wrong, there was no death involved. I mean, this wouldn't kill a person unless the person went crazy because of it, and that can happen. You see, belief is a very strong thing, and intent is a very strong thing. So once someone has got that in their mind that this is happening to them, or perceives this is what someone's done to me, that's it, game over. Because then they've already taken that concept on of what's going to be and what's happening. So once they take that concept into their own aura and are thinking, yeah, this is happening, that's it, it's going to happen. That's how it kind of works. Our mind is such an incredible thing. Our mind is unreal, and we can create so much from our mind that it is. Yes, it's exactly that, Elizabeth. It's exactly that. He sounds like me. I'm totally kidding. That was a joke, by the way, but I might as well say it. That's right. It's true. It's true. Was you really, Shrimp? Was you really? That's cool. It's it's a big weapon. It's a big weapon. And if people could just open up and understand that every single person upon this earth has that power, they just have to unlock it. That is very strange, isn't it? And once they've unlocked it and applied it, your powers are endless. They are endless because your belief within yourself will destroy another person. That is it. All it takes is for you to put that idea in their aura, in their mindset. Once you push that idea in there, that's it. It is ticking, and it will tick and tick and tick to the point where obviously they end up destroying themselves because they're constantly thinking about it. They're constantly aware of their surroundings, and every little thing will appear to be something that they think is something else. And then there's a whole big spin on it and it goes crazier. And yeah, it's definitely like a ticking time bomb. It absolutely is. By the time that they are done, they've destroyed themselves and you haven't had to do a thing. That's how it works. The thing with magic, you just have to believe. And once you know yourself, right? Because the important thing is know yourself. Oh, shoot. What's the matter? Yeah, it does. What? Oh my God. Possible. Well, the thing is witches got blamed for famine, for crops that died. They got blamed for milk going sour, for cheese going off, but so did the Fae. And the Fae and the witches were all intermeshed because it's believed real witches with the real witches' DNA, they are Fae. That's the belief. But Elizabeth, this is the thing though, isn't it? You see, this is where I differ, because I would do it. And you know why I would do it? Because I have every confidence in Mother Earth. I shall do that. Making the right choice for me. I'm putting it out there, but trust me, the universe and the cosmos knows. It knows. It knows what's right and it knows what's wrong. And it's on it. Don't ever think you can't put that stuff out there and give it to the earth, give it to the energy of the universe, because the universe will then decide. And if you're confident enough to know that you can request that of the universe and know that the universe will make the right choice, then that's what you should practice first. Because I would do it, because I have every faith in me feeling like that. If I feel like that, I feel like it for a reason, and my reason is justified. And if people could only sit and understand, yes, but this is the thing, isn't it? Karma is very different to what I'm trying to explain, Elizabeth. It's not wrong for you to do it, is what I'm saying. A lot of people think that it is wrong to do that, and it's not wrong to do it. It's where you aim it. That's the issue. When you can't control the energy and direct it to a particular point is where you can have problems. When you know how to control it in such a way that you know it's going to hit on point, trust me, you can do it. There's no stopping it. It will be. They did, but they also used to make fey houses for the sort of the elementals of the crops and things like that. It does, Sophie, it does. And I mean, I am a Libra, so I am karma, you know, I am justice. So I will do that, Elizabeth, if it's what I need to do. I will do, because I trust that I'm making the right choice. Yeah, I've definitely been there and done that. That's another story to go into another time. It's time. Um, but it's allowed. And this is the thing, because everybody looks to Wicca, and they always like Wicca is dead straight on what it means. Harm none. Simple as that. I never got taught that. Sorry. I know what needs to be done, regardless of what anybody else thinks or feels. I'm doing it. Like it or lump it. Because I have every faith in how I truly feel. And if that's how I feel, then I know I'm making the right choice. And I think a lot of people misinterpret that, because that's not bad or black or dark magic. That's releasing what no longer serves you. It's releasing what you no longer need within you. And you're allowed to do it. It's just that simple. Yeah, they did shrink because they kind of believed that the Fae and that witches were all sort of same. And that real witches are the Fae. Yes, that's it, Cass, isn't it? We all need to trust our instincts a lot more. I wish I'd have trusted them some time ago. Obviously, did not, but yeah, it is the best thing. But we find it so hard. We find it so hard to trust our gut these days. We're always questioning our own intuition. We're always questioning our own morals and our own ideas, and we shouldn't really, should we? We shouldn't question what we truly feel inside. You know, we should just understand that that's it. But yes, vampires will have friends that are witches. Witches will have friends that are vampires, but it's not like Hollywood. It never will be like Hollywood at all. Well, actually, James, the daisy wheels were used to protect against the fae. Did you know that? And like I said, real witches with real witch DNA were believed to be the fae. Do you see how it ties in? Yes, yes, that's right. No, it's true, Shrimp. Daisies were used to protect against the fae, but the problem with that is that many believe that real witches are the fae. They are the human fae of the world. That's what they believe. They are actually the elves that people talk about. But because people have this perception of elves with these pointed ears and such, they tend to not understand that just maybe the elves of the world are just like people, but they're just a little quirky, you know? It was. It was. And the evil eye is not evil, guys. So please get that out of your mind. The evil eye is actually protection for witches, it's protection for fairies. Um, it's protection against particular energy, and it is used in particular rituals to protect the energy within just that ritual space. So it's like very different. Now, vampires, when they take part in rituals, generally there is blood involved. When vampires have sex, this is where it gets more like your BDSM sometimes, which is great fun, but also they tend to have a lot of passion. Yeah, they tend to have a lot of. Yes, there's many still being found, James, believe it or not. There's absolutely loads being found. But yeah, they tend to have this passion where blood is needed within sexual rituals with the vampires, where the witches don't do that. They do it, but they don't need it. It's not something that they would find is needed to make that unity. Whereas usually with the vampires, it is needed for that unity, and that is their way of life. And I have nothing against them. I have friends that are vampires, and they are great people. They would never hurt anyone or hurt anything. It's not about that. Um, they are just different, like I'm different, and everybody, we're all different, but they just have their quirky ways as we have our quirky ways. But they're definitely not like the movie portrays them. And I've not met a Dracula as of yet. I'll let you know if I do. Like I say, the most dangerous vampires are the energy vampires, the psychic vampires, the ones that literally rip you to shreds. Yeah, exactly that. It was the evil stare, it was the glare of death, the look of doom. But people think it is the eye, the all seeing eye, the eye of Horus. It is not. That's protection. The evil eye has nothing to do with the drawing of the eye, guys, okay? Throw that out. Throw that out because it doesn't. And a lot of people put that, they hear the evil eye, so they put it with the picture of the eye. It's not true. The evil eye is the evil stare. It's a glare. A lot of the going back centuries, a lot of the protection symbols, they come. There's many in Arabic, believe it or not. Many are symbols, and I have quite a few of them. I do have the whole Rose and Thorn collection, which is my path, what I was brought up with, which includes every single sigil to call down each planetary energy, every sigil to call down the different moon and sun energies, each sigil to draw out each of the poisonous plant spirits, and all the other bits in between. I have the lot. They are very interesting and they work. They are very good. Yes. However, there are stories about vampires ripping people's necks out and things. Well, they're just sadistic people. They're just serial killers, okay? They just have their way of killing people, and that happens to be their way. And this happens, you know. I don't know if you heard the story of the I'm just reading your comments, guys. The story of the guy who said he was a 300-year-old werewolf and he actually committed murders. It's out there. It's circulating. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. But he claimed he was a 300-year-old werewolf, but he was not. He was a murderer. There's a big difference, you know. And the problem with that is people will speculate and they will come together, sort of perception, I guess. See something, hear something, it doesn't sound quite right, it does not sound familiar. So again, they will I work with a tropa. I work a lot with a tropa. In fact, a tropa's energy is in my yard right now as we speak. One of my favorites. Apotropia. I work with a tropa. It's good. Yeah, it's good. That cast, it's pretty good. Not saying anymore. But the idea of the vampires, like I said, is all blown out of context because all it was simple decomposition of the body, made people believe that they were vampires. And there are different sides to it. So, I mean, it's mostly in America. In America, you'll find that there's these deep, dark covens that will have the darker side of things in there within their circle, and the vampires will be darker, but the witches will be dark too. So it all blends in as one, you know. It it really doesn't make any difference. Now, if you're looking for the witch portals and the fae portals of the area, you need to be looking for different spiral markings on trees when you are out, on wood when you are out, on stones when you are out. There will be spirals, but they will be in a particular way. Each spiral and how it's placed and or made out of branches, etc., how it's engraved, depending whether it's 2, 4, even 6 or 10. Every single spiral that is drawn in its own particular way, that's the fae talking to other fae. It's the known witch portals that witches would use to change the energy around them, to call in the fae, to have the fae help them with rituals. Those portals are marked only in spirals, but the spirals change for each different direction, each different meaning. If you are ever near water and you look in water, and there are stones with particular spiral shapes, and then we can be sure there is a portal nearby that the fae use. That is a path that the fae use. Wherever you can find these spirals engraved, drawn, built, put together, generally means the fae are nearby. or they've been on that path or around that area. Yes, it is kind of like tags. Yes, it is. It's sometimes very hard to notice them. They can be the smallest of spirals to the most extravagant spirals that they're so extravagant you walk straight past them and think nothing of it because you just think that they are branches entwined with branches. And they are, but they are the fair branches entwined. And they've been entwined for that particular reason. If you've ever been out walking in the woods and such, and there's been no breeze whatsoever, it's been nice and sunny, and then all of a sudden, in one particular bush, a leaf, just one leaf, starts to wave frantically. The nature spirits are waving at you. And many people miss this. Many people miss it. It's just that one simple sign of acknowledgement that they're looking for. They're looking for people to acknowledge them. And something so small and simple like that, if it's missed or unacknowledged, then they won't attempt to communicate again. So yeah, I guess you could call them tags. And then there's the old lettering that you find. Those are by not every fae. No, you're not at all, Shanda. You're just asking a question, that's all. Not everybody knows. Not everybody knows. The other tags that are used generally by, you would call them fae, but they are just the dwarfs, I guess you would say. And those are usually lettering. Yeah, they definitely didn't absorb negative energy, I don't think, or malevolent energy or magic. Do you think, James? It's like, to me, I think I can feel that energy change more than anything. I'm pretty sure you're the same with me on that, you know? Like you can change, you can feel the change of the energy around you, so you just know if something is not quite right to where you are. I think that's something that we all get, but we just need to tap into. Oh, you mean noticing? Well, it's a very, very, let's be honest, Shandy, though, isn't it? To notice one leaf waving in a particular way, you would have to be pretty perceptive. You'd have to be concentrating pretty hard to actually get that, wouldn't you? Yeah, probably not, James. But I think, like I say, maybe with you and me and you, though, it's different because we tune into our own self and use that as tuning in rather than hanging balls everywhere.
You've got to be one with nature, haven't you?
You have got to be one with nature.
Just switch off all your surroundings.
You do. You do.
Focus on nature and different sounds and know what's in your area.
You've absolutely got to do that. You've got to take that step forward and cut the rest of the world off, no matter how hard it is. And it can be so hard to do that, but you have to find a spot to connect and work with nature and the energy around it. That's why meditation is probably one of the best tools to use, because the idea is we need to cut out all of the activity that we do not need in our space. That's why nature is like, it does, it really does. It really does. And that's one thing that I can actually say, James, is that I love the earth. I'm truly in love with the earth. I've always wanted to protect the earth, and I've always felt such a bond and nurturing from the earth. And I'm not afraid to crawl in mud on my hands and knees and be dirty, and it doesn't bother me. I'm not afraid to go into a lake naked at night. If anybody's walking past, if you're going to take pictures, at least let me know how much you're selling them for. Just saying. But the point is, it's never really bothered me, Diving rods. Oh, yeah. They're actually quite cool. They're quite cool. Obviously, they crisscross, but they also, you have to understand with these rods that they point to water too. They find water underneath the ground. I've got my nans and I left them outside and they got rusty. But point is, a lot of people use them for spirit, so that spirits around, cross inwards if spirits here to the left, to the right, whatever. But honestly, they also pick up water under the ground. They pick up subtle energy changes within the earth if there's crystals nearby. So they are not just for spirits, and they definitely are not to be trusted that that's what they're showing you, unless you can completely 1,000% get a definite answer to everything. And I think, unfortunately, most people will say that they got a definite answer because they've already trained the mind to believe that they are getting a definite answer when they are not. Yes, it's exactly that, right? It's exactly what I said, James. I didn't think I were wrong. I were hoping I weren't wrong. That they do. They connect with the earth. That's what they do. They connect with the earth's energy. They will find water. They will find crystal. They will find various gemstones. Yeah, people are very good at using them, but what I'm trying to say is don't automatically assume that this means you have a spirit, because they actually tune into the earth's energy a lot more than they would pick up a spirit. And what with the earth's energy and then our subconscious as well, working with that energy, that's where you're getting your movement from. I'm not saying that's what happens all the time. I'm saying 9 times out of 10, the reason the rods are moving is because your subconscious and the earth's energy are working together and creating a balance. You know, they're creating this energy force that you are directing yourself without realizing that you're directing it yourself. And I think a lot of people mistake a lot of things for being paranormal that can actually be explained, you know. And as much as the rods are awesome, you should definitely start with the green witchcraft. And the reason I say green witchcraft is, firstly, it is the safest. Secondly, I honestly do believe, Sophie, that you should start basics. I never ever would send someone in to start practicing all this crazy heebie-jeeber, because that's not good. Starting with green witchcraft is, it's safe, it's nice, it's peaceful, and it's always best to study more than one form. Never just have one form, because you'll be surprised when you start going from the green witchery, for example, to the eclectic witch, the hereditary witch, the grey witch, the black witch, the white witch, the green witch, and there's the kitchen witch. There's so many, the fairy witch. It's always best to have a dabble looking at bits of the light stuff. So let's say start with green kitchen and fairy witchcraft, you know. Candle magic's easy, Shandy. It's a basic thing. We're going to do some of that soon. We're going to do some of that on my channel anyway, because I have the 7 African powers ready and the calling to Isis. So yeah. But the books that I have, some of them are very, very old. I have to translate them. They are family journals more than anything. Harry Potter's not got shit on me. You're a wizard, Harry. But yeah, so always start with like your green, your kitchen, and your fairy witchcraft, Sophie, because those are probably the more peaceful ones. They're the easier ones to adapt to. And you'll find that for some, you'll just find your calling, Sophie. You'll find like certain ones that you click to. I've got loads of antiques, James, witchcraft wise, but mine are family. Um, they're not bought or anything like that. But they were, I guess the way to put it was, as you know, James, back then in the day, payments were made by gifts. They weren't made by money. When things were done for others, they were made by gifts. And I've ended up with so many antiques that are attached to different witches and different covens and clans. I have so many journals that I wouldn't know where to start sometimes on them. But I'm very lucky to have all that. I know I am, but it stresses me out because I think it's too much. Um, but I know that I'm lucky. I know that I'm lucky in what I have, and I get that. But it can be too much. Do you know what I mean? And I don't mean to like sound mean with that or anything, because I'm not. I appreciate everything that I have and that it was passed down to me, and I fully appreciate it. But it's just so much. Like to walk around my house, my living room is full of witchcraft. My kitchen is full of witchcraft. My landing is full of witchcraft. My bedroom's full of witchcraft. The spare bedroom's full of witchcraft. The cabin's full of witchcraft. And also within that furniture, in every single drawer, and I mean every single drawer is full of everything. And it gets too much. It gets too much. You know, sometimes because of where it's come from, the energy itself is not nice. And you can feel that from the items, you know. Witches are male and female. Yes, it's the best way to start, Sophie. Always start with your green witchery because the thing is, from a young age, I had to learn about herbs. That's why I'm an advanced herbalist because to be a real witch makes you a pharmacout, and to be a pharmacout makes you a seer. That is Seer, and to be the seer is what makes you the witch.
All about alchemy.
It is very alchemical, yes. You have to be skilled in alchemy, herbalism, and botany, which I am actually qualified in all of those, might I add, plus much more. But you do, to be successful in the craft, you would find it beneficial to learn alchemy, botany, and herbalism because you can then branch out to various different mixtures, let's say. Oh, your psychedelics too, but only do your psychedelics if you're wanting to make the old flying potions and things, which I do make. Um, so these are all the things, guys, that I literally qualified in because of what I am, because it's our way within our family coven. It was our way. We were learnt from a very young age, you know. Yeah, there's male and female witches. Um, generally, you will find, Shandy, that male witches are quite rugged looking. They're very dishy. Most of them are very dishy. You'll find they have a fair few tattoos, I've noticed, but all of them, yeah, in fact, all of them that I know of, they are very good looking, are male witches. that's something that I should probably do, is I should start sharing all my crap that I have with you. Um, Going through family journals is very hard because they have to be decoded. And I tend to pick out bits that I want and pop it into a new book, if that makes sense. Because obviously there's that much in it, of course. It's easier to do that. But I mean, if you want, I'm more than happy to start sharing all the different things with you. But I know that some people like it, some people don't like it. Some of the things that I've gotten of the energy is it's not so nice that's on it because of where it's come from. Um, you can get things that have things attached to them, which is not a good thing because then you're bringing it in your home and you have to lock it away. That's why most of my cabinets, believe it or not, because they're antique and because they belong to witches. In fact, I think I would say 8% of all the cabinets that I have, I would definitely say that they have locks for a reason. And that is how I inherited them, with the locks for a reason. So what is in there needs to stay in there, if you get what I mean. But do you mean what element is it? Or do you mean where he lives? Shrimp. Because I am air, so I am east, but I live in the south. Yeah, that's the best way, James. I'll tell you what happened. I ended up putting my books are now protected, but when they are not protected, James, you usually find that, well, they do get a bit damaged, don't they? I'm South Yorkshire. That's me. I'm a Yorkshire. Taurus is, yeah, that's what Lee is. Lee's a Taurus. I'm a Libra. I'm mainly Libra. But Lee's a Taurus, so I'm so tired. So yeah, witches and vampires do get along. They do interact. But they are not what you think. They are not these demonic beings that turn into bats. They are normal people. They just live a different life, but they are genuine people, and I've not met a nasty one yet. Yet. Other than the obvious psychic vampire, of course, that attacks. Aquarius just. Yes, they did, James. Yes, they did. Most of mine. Yes, I'm air. I'm air. I'm a Libra, so I'm air. 5th of May, Sophie. His birthday is the 5th of May. Aquarius is also air. See, I have a lot of Aleister Crowley stuff, James. I'm not going to lie. I have families. Most of mine are just family stuff that are protected for a reason. I said, and it's a soft bit. Sorry, shrimp. It's my it's my probably my accent. I'm South Yorkshire. I'm I'm in Elsica. I'm in Barnsley. Oh, you're on about talking to James. Sorry then. I'm tired. Gemini. I'm a Libra. Mine's 1982. I didn't even know how old I am. I keep forgetting, guys. Do you know that? Like, I was like, I'm 38 now. I'm 37. I'm 38. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I was just born in 1982. His birthday's been and gone. Shrimp is Gemini. I don't think I could do that, James. I couldn't sell mine no matter what. I don't, Cass, if I'm honest. Do you know what, Cass? I don't. I do not see the point. Like, I really don't see the point. That's all right, Cass. I'm going to get off in a minute anyway because I'm absolutely exhausted and I'm just tired. I'm just so tired, honest. But it's like all air signs get along very well, don't they? It's just kind of how they're designed to be. All air signs get along very well. You take the Libra, the Aquarius, and Gemini, they all fit together perfectly. So I do need to get some rest, Sophie, because otherwise I'm going to fall asleep here because I'm absolutely exhausted. I've got a poorly dog as well at the moment. That's all right, Cass. I am going to end it now anyway. I know the feeling, Cass. I know the feeling. And it's all right, Shelley. I'm exhausted myself. I've had a big shock today, and I also have a poorly dog as well. Yeah.
What the hell, man?
I don't know. Did anybody hear it? But nobody heard that. On screen. I don't know what. My mum's a cancer. I couldn't tell you what my dad was. I don't know. What's that?
Christmas in there.
Christmas fast asleep. That's coming. That's an echoing.
I put colours on his
That's echoing.
bed.
That's an echoing. That's an echoing scream. I can't stand London. Do you have any questions, guys, before I go?
Sophie wants to know something about importance and numbers.
Yeah, there's so much information on the various numbers, Sophie. They're all kind of symbolic in a cosmic way. It's my eldest, James, big white boxer. He's going to vets, but I don't think it's not. It's not. It's 11.
Yeah.
He's 11. Our Mojo were 14. But today he's gone to get up. He's gone to stand up, and I think his back end's going. So
He's on medication anyway.
He is on medication. He is because he's got arthritis. But I think that when I take him to the vets, that it will be time to put him to sleep. Which I am not going to be able to deal with that very well. It's hard to lose a dog. When I lost our Mojo, it crippled me. Yeah, I mean, he's holding himself, Cass, but I can see. It's bothering me. I don't know where that screaming's coming from, but it's doing my head in. It is. I mean, it's one of those things. It's a circle of life, and I understand. When I lost my other boxer, our Mojo, it were awful. He's laid outside of me, still like he normally does. He lays outside of me with I showed you earlier, the big mushy one. Is laid outside of me again, but I'm not going to show you because I'm practically something's happening outside because I can hear voices. I'm practically naked, guys. So I'm not going to show you because of that.
We'll go Witchcraft and I'll bet house tonight.
Fair enough. But yes, numbers mean something, Sophie. They do. It depends which way you want to look at them as well, because there's the angelic way of looking at them, and then there's also the numeric way. There's the coding way. There's there's so many. So it's something to get into bit by bit, Yeah, it's definitely going to really hurt me. Exactly that, Cass. It means something. It is a message. Same number as me, Sophie. I have a couple of numbers that going to whine at me because I woke you up, you're asleep, and I'm talking too loud. Gee, Daisy. Love you too. Dog's telling me off because I'm talking too loud and she's trying to sleep. Daisy's telling me off.
Hello, Daisy.
He's like, Mum, I'm trying to sleep. Can you shut up, please? Yeah, with mine, Sophie, it's 21 and 22 at the moment. I did have a short time where it was 3.23, quite a lot. But there are different ways at looking at it. You can do the 2 add 2 equals 4. But there's other ways of realizing what it actually is. Yes. Well, I was born on the 22nd. Listen this. Joshua was born on the 12th. Joel, the 20th. Christopher, the 21st. And I find that very bizarre. It's all 1-2s. My nan died on the 10th. That's another 1 because the 0 doesn't count. So I do believe there is significance within those numbers. Possibly a DNA link, a genetic link, an ancestral link as well to those numbers. But it depends how you look at it and how you perceive the number to which belief system you want to follow. The energetic body, the aura connecting to the cosmic around us is another big thing that connects us with numbers as well. So there's a lot of different various things. Yeah, my nan died on the 10th of December. For Christmas. Anyway, I am going to say goodnight, guys. Thank you for joining me. Lots of love and light. So yeah, vampires are not what you think. It is definitely more Hollywood related that twisted and turned all these around. You alright, dude? You alright? There's no one in your way, love. Oh, bloody hell, what else? Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Sophie. It's not nice. I know what it's like. Yes, good night, everyone, and love and light. I love you all. Thank you for joining me. And I shall see you all next time. Okay? Ta-ta, cheerio, bye-bye. Mwah, mwah, mwah.